Hi, my name is MTolliver, and the institution that I chose for this history project is the University of North Texas. The University of North Texas is special to me because it is my alma mater. I am a Mean Green alumni. Now, I chose to look at UNT because as I was choosing my institution for my undergraduate work, I never looked into the history of the institution. It wasn't important to me. So after learning as much as I have in this class, I wanted to look deeper into what UNT's history looked like. First, when we were talking about, let's talk about UNT's beginnings. UNT was founded in 1890 during the University Transformation era. It was established as one of the special program institutions, as a teacher institution. It was named the Texas Normal College and Teacher Training Institution. Their first class consisted of 70 students, and they met in a rented space above a hardware store. Now, UNT went through several name changes throughout its years, but its final name change to University of North Texas was done in 1988. This quote on this slide here is from President Joshua C. Chilton, the founder and establisher of UNT. So when we're looking at UNT's facts, UNT is a Tier 1 public research institution. It has many programs available for anyone who's seeking a bachelor's, master's, doctoral, and they have recently started a special professional program. Their students have many activities to choose from amongst different student organizations, fraternities, sororities, and those who are more interested in the academic and honor society areas. For their student base, their most recent enrollment that they have published is from the most recent fall 2017 semester. And their total enrollment is a little over 38,000 students. Those 38,000 students are made mostly of the undergraduate students, but they still have a good helping of graduate. The average age of students on campus for both undergraduate and graduate together is 23. The majority of their students are female and are attending UNT full time. Now, UNT got started, like I said, in 1890 in Denton, Texas, and that is still its main campus there in Denton. It didn't expand its institution until year 2000, wherein they opened up the University Center in Dallas, Texas. From there, 10 years later, they opened up the Collin Higher Education Center in McKinney. Now, the interesting thing about this education center in McKinney is that it's not just UNT that is a part of this education center. This center is an area for students to go to that they can get their associate's degree and their bachelor's at the same time. And it's composed of UNT and several other universities. UNT's most recent building is the new College at Frisco building in Frisco, Texas. And the interesting thing about the new building is that this is a building that is designed and recruiting for students interested in the continuing education side of things. So UNT is now encompassing everything, it seems, from continuing education to associates all the way through to doctoral programs. So UNT had many moments to choose from, but the area that I was looking at most was when UNT got hit and impacted by the Great Depression. Like many other institutions of higher education during that time period, UNT was struggling. They were hit financially by the Great Depression, but even being hit, they were seeing an increase in their enrollment. And with this increase in enrollment, they weren't able to handle all of these students coming in. They had nowhere to go, nowhere to put them, nowhere for them to go. So the president at that time decided to apply for a Public Works Administration grant. What the Public Works Administration is in 1933, President Roosevelt passed the New Deal program, which aimed to restore prosperity to Americans. This program funded large-scale public works constructions like dams, hospitals, and schools. So its main focus was helping increase and build America back up again. This program lasted for about 8 years, and UNT received their funding in 1935. This funding allowed UNT to build academic and residential facilities that were largely needed for them to be able to grow their enrollment and keep up with the enrollment that was coming through the door. So one of the first buildings built was the library building. It was built in 1936. The library building is actually still standing today. They now call it the Sycamore Hall. With this building, they were planning to build a library collection to meet their ultimate goal of offering doctoral programs, because in 1936 they weren't there yet. They hadn't gotten to where they were offering the doctoral programs. Along with the Public Works Administration grant, they also received a grant from Carnegie Corporation so that they could purchase the books that they needed. The Band and Orchestra Hall was also built in 1936. It was actually built before the library. This Band and Orchestra Hall, it provided room for 36 men on the top floor, but then it also provided classroom space. And this dorm, the occupants were only allowed to be there if they were members of the band and the orchestra. So it was basically their dormitory. During World War II, the quarters were used by women who were attending the institution, and then after World War II, the building was converted to classrooms and office space. In 1936, also, Marquis Hall was built. Marquis Hall was the very first dormitory, official dormitory, that was only a dormitory for women and for women. It housed 100 women, and it came about because parents were requesting a dorm for women so that they wouldn't have to place their kids in private homes. And the interesting thing is that even after this was built, many of the parents changed their minds and said that they would rather have had the private homes instead of the dormitory. Terrell Hall was also a dormitory that was built with the PWA grant, and it was built in 1938. Here is pictured, the one on the left is the Marquis Hall, and the picture on the right is the Terrell Hall. Terrell Hall is now used for classrooms and offices, so this building is still on campus. Chilton Hall was built in 1938. It was the actual first dormitory for men. During World War II, it housed the Army Air Corps soldiers, and in 1980 it was renovated. One of the last buildings to be built was the Home Management House. The Home Management House was built in 1938, and it was built specifically for women who were part of the home economic majors. So it was built sort of like the orchestra and band hall was for the men who were in that program. And here is my reference sheet of where I found all of my information. Thank you for listening to my podcast. Have a great day.